Ant-Man has the charisma. You know, I love that.
He's really a dangerous player.
Told him, man, you got a chance, man. You got a chance, brother, to be Michael Jordan, brother.
In the early years of his career, Anthony Edwards has become a bona fide superstar. After a one-and-done season at the University of Georgia, Edwards was drafted first overall in the 2020 NBA Draft by the Minnesota Timberwolves. In his first year with the Timberwolves, Ant showed glimpses of his potential and was named to the All-NBA Rookie First Team, before truly emerging as a star in his second year. In the time since, Anthony Edwards has become one of the most eye-catching young stars in the league, thanks in large part to his freak athleticism and cool demeanor. Beyond his tenure in Minnesota, Edwards has also played with other NBA stars on Team USA and turned heads on the FIBA circuit, where he caught the world's attention and began to break out as a potential star while playing with some of the other best players in the league on Team USA. Edwards' ability to challenge defenders at the rim has helped to generate some unbelievable and unforgettable highlights, while his ability to score at all three levels has helped him draw comparisons to Michael Jordan. NBA fans, journalists, and commentators alike have been vocal in their praise for the young star since he arrived in the league, and his fellow NBA players have also begun to take notice and shout out Ant for what he's accomplished since coming into the league. Much like Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant drew praise early in his career for his raw scoring ability and mature style of play. After 1 year at the University of Texas, Durant began his career with the Seattle Supersonics and Oklahoma City Thunder, and quickly became the focal point of an NBA title contender, leading the Thunder to an NBA Finals appearance in 2012. Durant, now a multi-time champion with the Golden State Warriors, has the credibility and track record to speak from experience, and KD speaks glowingly of Edwards, in part because he clearly sees much of himself in the younger star. He notes Edwards' love for the game, appreciation for his craft, and his cool style of play. As Durant enters the twilight of his career, it's clear that he isn't afraid to pass the torch on to the next era of superstars, and he sees Ant-Man as the next big superstar coming up.
So impressed with Ant. So impressed with Ant. My favorite player to watch. Just grown so much since he came into the league at 22. Just his love for the game just shines bright, and that's something that's one of the reasons why I like him the most, because he just loves basketball. He's grateful to be in this position. He's taking advantage of every opportunity he's gotten. Love everything about Ant, everything. And be watching him going forward, and you know he's going to go out there and play extremely hard every single night, but was really impressed with him. And it's going to be somebody I'm following for the rest of his career.
Draymond Green, one of Kevin Durant's old teammates with the Golden State Warriors, is as outspoken a player you'll find in the NBA. Whether heaping praise on his fellow players or vocally criticizing the officials, Green isn't afraid to speak his mind. And as the 2017 NBA Defensive Player of the Year and one of the best defensive players of his generation, Green has the experience to demand respect from his fellow players. When Draymond speaks up, we as basketball fans should make sure to listen. And Draymond is not afraid to put high expectations on Anthony Edwards. Much like Durant, Draymond believes that Ant has what it takes to be one of the best players in the world when it's all said and done. On his podcast, Green spoke highly of Ant's game and projected that he would evolve into one of the game's next big superstars. And the way he talks about Edwards, Ant may just have the chance to be one of the best players of all time.
I think Anthony Edwards is poised to be that next guy. He want to be that next guy. He telling you he that next guy, and he going to play like he that next guy. I think it's something special when you are good enough to say, I'm better than you, and y'all old, and all of the things that Anthony Edwards says, and then he goes out and prove them. So, man, the stock is high on Ant-Man right now, and you should be buying. There's an old saying, you buy low and sell high. Sometimes you miss the boat and you have to buy high. It ain't as high as it's gonna get on Ant-Man right now, but it should be high. Still get in now, because this is still. Ant-Man is different.
Of all the praise that Anthony Edwards has garnered from his fellow NBA players, it seems to strike a different chord when it comes from one of the world's best players like Durant or the Greek Freak. It takes one to know one, as the old saying goes, and the NBA's best players seem to agree that Edwards has the goods to be one of the all-time greats. In an interview with his brother, the Greek Freak, one of the world's best players, shouted out Edwards as one of the best young players in the game, highlighting Edwards' relentless energy, his style of play, and his winning mentality. For the Greek Freak, who has won an NBA title himself with an absolutely dominant playoff run, you can tell that he really respects Edwards and thinks that he'll be a champion by the time his career is done.
I love Anthony Edwards, man. I love him, man. Like, he plays both ways. He's playing the right way. He plays to win, and he translate on the court like I think the number one in the West, number two in the West.
Embiid is one of the most individually decorated players in the NBA, racking up a number of All-NBA recognitions and winning the 2023 MVP award. One of the things that makes Embiid so fun to watch is his unique, fun-loving playstyle and his willingness to play like a guard and borrow moves from other players. One such moment happened during the 2023-24 season when 76ers star saw Anthony Edwards throw the ball to himself off the backboard for an alley-oop. Embiid later replicated the move, and after the game credited Ant with inspiring him to do so. And same as all of these NBA players, Embiid isn't afraid to shout out Edwards' ability and say how much he enjoys watching the younger superstar.
I'm not gonna lie, but obviously I've done it before. It's not the first time. I like to challenge myself, and Anthony Edwards is one of my top 3 favorite players in the league. He's up there. Dude is so nice, and I saw it last night. I was like, well, if he can do it, why can't I do it too? I'm a big fan of his, so I love him and I love his game. So I was like, well, if I'm a big fan of him, if when I grow up I want to be like him, so if he does it, why can't I do it too?
Similar to Anthony Edwards, Jayson Tatum came into the league as a one-and-done and immediately exceeded expectations, instantly becoming one of the league's best wings for the Boston Celtics. Like Edwards, Tatum has received a ton of credit and praise from his fellow NBA players, and now he's passing that along to the next era of guys coming after him. With Ant, Tatum echoed many of the other NBA players who admire Ant's game, saying how much they enjoy watching him and his unique mix of talent and athleticism. This praise also means a little more, due in large part to the fact that Edwards, like Tatum, was expected to be the best player on a title contender from a young age, a big responsibility for any player, let alone a player in his first few years in the league. For Tatum, he recognizes the burden that Ant takes on for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The fact that he's able to overcome the responsibility and elevate his game to do so is further proof that Edwards is so special. There aren't many guys with the mentality and skill level, let alone one of those things, to do what he's doing in the league.
And one of my favorite guys to watch in the league. How explosive and talented he is, and continues to get better each and every year. And I just like how he competes. He competes on both ends of the floor. He made some big plays for his team tonight, especially down the stretch.
Like Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown grew up in Georgia and was a one-and-done who became a first-round draft pick before blossoming into a superstar with the Boston Celtics. Because of that, Jaylen understands the path that Anthony Edwards has gone on and how impressive it is that he's developed into the player he is today. Brown, much like his Celtics teammate Jayson Tatum, recognizes that Ant is a special talent that opponents have to design entire defensive schemes around. And because of his unbelievable talent, charismatic personality, and highlight-producing style of play, Anthony Edwards is quickly becoming the face of the league. For other top guys in the league to speak so highly of Anthony Edwards just further proves that Ant is one of the most unique talents the league has seen in some time. At a time when the NBA is richer with talent than it ever has been before, Edwards is rising to the top and drawing praise from his fellow competitors.
He's a hooper. We already knew that. We knew he was going to come to play tonight. He knew that he's one of the young stars, faces of our league. So, we had a lot of schemes we tried to throw at him, but, he was able to get going. Guy like that gets going, it's going to be tough, but, we'll be ready for, the next matchup, and I'm sure he will too.
Donovan Mitchell came into the NBA in a similar manner to Anthony Edwards, a highly regarded raw athlete who had to prove himself quickly at the highest levels in the National Basketball Association. After developing into one of the league's premier guards, Mitchell became an all-star with a deep highlight reel of insane poster dunks and ankle-breaking crossovers. Stylistically, Mitchell is a close comparison to the younger Edwards, with his position and playing style. And so Mitchell knows just how impressive it is for Ant to be doing what he's doing at this level. And as one of the other young faces of the league, Donovan speaks from his own experience when he says that Ant Edwards is following the same trajectory. That the highly competitive Mitchell speaks so highly of Ant says a lot about how the rest of the league regard Ant-Man. And for Donovan, who is yet another explosive scoring guard who has led his teams on deep playoff runs, he is speaking from experience when he discusses Ant.
He's heading that direction. It's going to be, competing. Him and I compete. We're not in the same conference anymore, but just competing on all levels. And I got a lot of respect for him. And he's a guy that's, he's right there. He's right there. He should be an all-star this year. I hope he is. It's tough for the guards in the West, but he should definitely be up there. He's been playing out of his mind, and that's who he is, and that's who he's going to be. And
LeBron James is the best player of his era, the best player since Michael Jordan. Skipping college to go right to the NBA out of high school, LeBron established himself as one of the best players in the league within his first few seasons in the league, much like Anthony Edwards has done. And as LeBron eyes retirement and his post-playing career, he's looking at the next era of superstars to see who is going to step up and usher the league into a post-LeBron era. Naturally, LeBron sees Ant as the guy who will take that step up, in large part because of his infectious personality, his special game, and his maturity. For LeBron, you can tell that he takes the responsibility of passing the game along to the next era seriously. He wants to make sure that the league is in good hands when he retires. The way he speaks about Ant, it's clear that he thinks Ant has the game to do so on the court, and the personality to help grow the game off the court as well.
I would say Shea, Ant-Man. I feel like those are two of the guys, that can continue the torch. After I'm done, after Steph, KD, the guys that have just been setting the standard for so many years. But, Shea and Ant-Man has the charisma. I love that.
Throughout his tenure in the NBA, Paul George has established himself as one of the smoothest bucket getters in the entire world. From early playoff battles with the LeBron James-led Miami Heat to the latter stages of his career with the Oklahoma City Thunder and Los Angeles Clippers, PG has always been a naturally gifted scorer. With his tight handle and smooth pull-up jump shot, his game has always been easy on the eyes. On his podcast, PG shouted out Edwards for his fast maturation and cool head at such a young age. Specifically, PG-13 cited Ant's ability to beat defenders with his killer athleticism and his deft finesse. PG said he knew that Edwards was the guy when he saw him dominating in the FIBA World Cup while playing for Team USA. Seeing him killing in a competition with a notably different style of play was enough to convince Paul George that Ant had what it takes to be a superstar.
It's pretty special with who he's becoming. To be ready at that age, at this stage, you putting him amongst the young stars he's going to be competing with for the next 10, 15 years, and now he's becoming the alpha of them. That's why I was a big fan of him, because I saw the star potential in him. I saw the star, the superstar on and off the court. That Germany game was special. He basically put USA on his back. To be able to do that at that age is tough, bro. The international game is not easy, and he's smooth. He knows how to use that athleticism the right way. That's what I love about him. And it's like a finesse. I don't have to punch on you. I'm gonna just go around you with this Euro. And then you forget he can go upstairs with you too. That's what's scary. That's a special kid, man. He's the future.
Nikola is a multi-time MVP award winner who has turned heads since he arrived in the NBA, thanks to his unique style of play and his ability to impact the game in a number of ways. From his passing to his disruptive defense to his pick-and-roll reads, Nikola can beat defenses in every way imaginable. That is what the best players in the world do. They affect the game however they can, they make their teammates better, and they win. The Joker sees many of those same qualities in Edwards as well. Nikola credits Anthony for his ability to beat his opponents in a number of ways, which is something that only the top echelon of players can do. And for Nikola, who has played in several playoff series against Edwards and gone head-to-head with him a number of times, he's speaking from experience when he praises the younger superstar.
He's amazing. He's a really dangerous player. He's a really talented player who can do everything, who has everything actually in his arsenal, and he has the teammates to back it up, and he's actually a really funny guy to be around. So, hopefully we're going to have some fun too.
Patrick Beverly may not be an NBA superstar, but as an NBA journeyman, he has been around a lot of NBA locker rooms and seen a lot of stars come and go from the league. Beverly spent one season with Edwards while playing with Minnesota during the 2021-2022 season, and he thinks Edwards has the ability to go down as one of the most special players in the history of the NBA. Pat Bev specifically pointed to Ant's stunning combination of skill level, athleticism, and mentality, a combination that only the best players of all time have. In fact, Pat Bev, after seeing Edwards' work ethic and seeing what makes Anthony tick, even did the unthinkable. He compared the young superstar to Michael Jordan. To some, this comparison may seem out of the question, but Beverly is uniquely qualified to make it. He has played for 7 different NBA teams and been around plenty of superstars. So if he says that Anthony Edwards is different, then he might just be right. The Michael Jordan comparison is always an interesting one, so it will be fascinating to track his growth over the coming years and see if he can continue to draw such high praise and comparisons to the greatest to ever do it.
Man, if I say this, man, I know y'all go in the world go look at me like I'm crazy and I go put all that pressure on that kid, but man, I told him, man, you got a chance, man. You got a chance, brother, to be Michael Jordan, brother. You really do. You really do. You really do. I've been around a lot of them. Man, the kid doesn't indulge in anything negative, JJ. And you know what I mean? Off the court, he doesn't indulge in anything negative, just all positivity, all video games. His talent level and skill level is crazy, man. He has a chance to be really, really, really special in this league.
As Anthony Edwards continues to blossom into a superstar in the NBA, expect to hear more and more of his fellow players continue to sing his praises. His infectious personality endears him to other NBA players and NBA fans alike, while his game strikes a combination of awe and fear in his competitors. As Edwards continues to mature, it's becoming clear that he has the talent to be one of the best players in the league, if not the best. As a two-way wing who can end you with the ball in his hands and dominate you defensively, he has what it takes to be one of the most impactful guards we've seen in the NBA in years. And hearing his fellow NBA superstars say this as well just confirms that Ant is special. It will be fascinating to watch Edwards' career unfold. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and there are certainly a lot of expectations on his shoulders. But Edwards seems uniquely made for this, to be a future champion, an MVP, and maybe even one of the greatest players of all time when it's all said and done.